last night we had the Champs Classic, and I think the most impressive guy throughout all of the games was clearly Cason Wallace, Kentucky freshman who is was already one of the best high school or pre-college defensive guard prospects that I'd seen, and oh my God, was he incredible on defense versus Michigan State. He had 8 steals, and I don't even think that does justice what he did. So I'm a little under the weather right now, but I'm excited to break down what Cason did defensively last night when I'm recording this. He just makes so many like, oh my God, what the hell plays, where you see he's like a little out of position here. Cason's a super aggressive defender. I think it's calculated aggression, but that does lead to him getting, beat here. But watch Cason, notice that Oscar rotates and that the pass is going here and make that rotation to block that at the apex. His length is so impressive. And when I talk about functional athletic tools, this is what I mean. Someone who has that length and knows how to use it, who can jump and knows how to jump and when to time their leaps. Just incredible like awareness and processing of what is happening here. Those are just like the most impressive parts of Cason's defensive game. Like, he is such a skilled defender. It's not just like being crazy athletic or anything, because he is a great athlete and he's super long, but like it's the instincts and anticipation. These two are kind of just like walking on the baseline, and Cason knows that this guy isn't an amazing passer, so he's able to sneak right there and steal that with his length. Just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful instincts and anticipation. We see guys like Jimmy Butler do this all the time, just come out of nowhere and steal passes that don't even seem like they're contested, that don't even seem like the defender is in the area. He's just a very aware and sound off-ball defender, which is so impressive for a young freshman, especially one with his tools. Michigan State runs Spain here, which is just a pick and roll with this kind of back screen, which is often a really difficult action for a lot of young guys to guard. But Cason knows what he has to do. Cason knows that the guard that he covered got switched onto, so he communicates, stays with the big man here, and is able to deter an easy bucket. Eventually, I think he fouls here, but I'm impressed by his ability to not get lost here and to make this more difficult than a wide open layup or a dunk even. Cason is maybe most special defending at the nail, which is just this area. I've talked about it lots on this channel. It's so important to cover these middle drives, and gap defense is so popular in the league now, with teams like Miami, Toronto, being so good there. And Cason is elite there. It's just so hard to drive in this area with him lurking. Look at that two-hand dig, 2 hands for safety. He forces guys to pick up their dribble, to stop their drives, to discontinue their handle, just to stop what they were doing and change their plans. And even when Cason is like, it's not like, this is a really great example of just his like situational awareness and his awareness of what's happening on the court at all times and ability to capitalize it. Like, they're running just like a floppy loop, and Cason is guarding the ball handler, but he instantly is able to turn his head to dig down and disrupt this ball handler's momentum, and I think that was credited as a steal for him. But either way, it was his digging down that helps it again. Again, his ability to kind of dig with 2 hands. Look how long his stride is here, or how long he stretches his leg, which would allow him to get back to the corner and close out in that situation. He digs here on the drive hard when his teammate gets beat off the dribble, and he saves a bucket. And I think this is a turnover. Yeah, that nail stuff is so impressive. Even when you just like don't see box score numbers, you see Cason disrupting offense and just forcing them to change their plans and limit their options, which is what defenses want to do. Again, Hauser beats Collins off the dribble here, but because Cason slides in, he's able to force a pass out. Obviously, Cason loses his man here, and I think just Cason's tendency to be so like aware of everything and scanning means that he can lose his man sometimes. But again, these are just like freshman things that I'm very confident he's going to iron out. as he improves and as he grows as a defender. A lot of his steals were like this, where guys tried to challenge his length on the ball and it just didn't work. I don't think Cason's the best on-ball defender ever. I think that's the weaker part of his defense compared to his team defense, as we'll get into. But look how he gets low, he slides. His feet are good, not great, but with his length and how quick his hands are, he is able to just poke balls out of defenders whenever he wants. Cason, as we mentioned before, is like a very aggressive defender, and that extends to the point of attack, where you see him kind of playing really high. He's anticipating the guard using the screen, which gets him beat middle. Because Cason is fast, he can turn and chase and recover. His MO is to like turn chase. You see how he turns his hips around and runs rather than sliding laterally, which allows him to stick with a straight line drive, but would make him more vulnerable to things like change of direction and step backs. That was not necessarily, it's a trade-off. Like Clay's is like the example I always think of like turn chase defenders who are able to cut off straight line drives because of it. But Cason just like probably too aggressive at times. Again, like really pressuring Hauser, really like leaning forward. But because of that forward lean, Hauser, a really skilled player, is able to take advantage and spin off of Cason. And I think this was probably not a foul. Because Hauser's pretty slow, Cason was able to stay in front pretty comfortably. And I don't think that was a foul. Cason, lastly, is just like a pest. The kind of defender that everyone hates to play against, who will hound you when you're running back in transition, stick with you stride for stride. And again, look how quick his hands go. You cannot cross the ball over in front of Cason Wallace. You have to go behind the back. You have to go between the legs. You have to spin. Because if you just go straight in front, he's going to rip you. Especially if you're not an elite ball handler, which AJ Hoggard isn't. Like the player that everyone hates in pickup, but every coach loves. You just cannot make careless passes around him, even if you think you're safe. He will jump these like an elite free safety every single day of the week. Every single time, those are getting jumped. So yeah, Cason was incredible. His off-ball defense is very special, I think, for a prospect of his age and his tools. I think he is a clear, like, high mid-lottery pick in this draft at this point. Obviously, a lot could change. But yeah, Cason was sick, and he's a very skilled defender. It's not just his tools or his athleticism, but he is skilled in a lot of different ways. I also want to shout out a YouTube channel called, I think it's Kashigi. I'll link their channel before, but they do like highlight cut-ups, and they're the only channel I've found that does like non-box score stuff. Like I don't really do full games if I don't have to anymore, just because like I don't have the time or desire to watch full college or prospect games. But you miss a lot. You miss a lot of like defense, especially like rotations and stuff, and passes that don't lead to assists and advantages created that don't lead to points. But they put in these plays in the highlight tape, which I think is really, really cool and allows for people who don't watch the full game to get a real sense of what a player's impact was like beyond just box score stuff. So thank you again to Cash Shiggy, I think. I will link their YouTube channel below.